Hello and a warm welcome to the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Our focus today is on the North Central. We'll begin with a report released by rights group Amnesty International that claimed that Nigerian police used excessive force during the August nationwide #EndBadGovernance demonstration that killed at least 24 people and arrested 1,200 others. The report, titled Bloody August, Nigerian government's violent crackdown on EndBadGovernance protests, says the killings took place in Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, and Niger states. It documents what Amnesty International describes as the violent crackdown on peaceful protests against rampant corruption and economic hardship. The Senate has passed President Tinubu's 4 tax bills for second reading through a voice vote. The lawmakers passed through second reading a bill for an act to establish the Joint Revenue Board, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, and the Office of Tax Ombudsman as part of President's comprehensive tax reform package. The upper legislative chamber mandated its Committee on Finance to organize public hearings on the bill for inputs from the Governors Forum, National Economic Council, Northern Elders Forum, and others, then reports to the House within 6 weeks. The proposed legislation seeks to harmonize, coordinate, and resolve disputes arising from revenue administration in the country. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives will hold a special session on tax reform bills. That will be next week, Tuesday. This was revealed by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who presided over plenary today. He made a disclosure after a closed-door session, which he says was the commencement of consultations among members. According to him, resource persons would be available by next Tuesday to expand on the bills. The federal government has been asked to reduce the sufferings of people by relaxing and reducing taxes, as to go a long way to improve their economic well-being. This is the view of various speakers at a symposium in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, by a political group called Kwara Legends.
Members of Kwara Legends are amongst other individuals gathered in this hall in Ilorin to discuss and prefer solutions to myriad of challenges confronting the nation. Top on the agenda is the economic challenges as it affects the man on the street. Some of the speakers, including religious leaders, make suggestions as to what the government can do better to improve the standard of living.
One critical spiritual role that religion play in politics is to serve like the jackboot by which you can walk upon the broken bottle and you don't get injured, you don't get destroyed. So religion should serve like a protection for us when we serve in politics that looks very dangerous.
Answering questions on the sidelines of the event, the former Speaker of the Kwara State House of Assembly advises the federal government to relax taxes.
The federal government still has the support of the people. They can use that as an advantage. They should look at their advisors. I have seen people come to try to continue tightening the noose on the necks of the poor people. We don't need more of those. We have to relax the taxes. We have to.
While explaining the rationale behind the program, the coordinator notes that a lot of Nigerians are suffering and efforts need to be intensified.
We know that subsidy removal are bringing the hardship in the country. If subsidy is another thing to generate the income, then you can make another easy program for the masses by opening the border and bringing food to the country.
The crux of the symposium is for the federal government to hasten action on implementation of policies that will reduce the hardship being faced by the people.
The governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, has signed the 2024 supplementary budget into law. The governor gave a breakdown of the over 156 billion naira budget during the signing ceremony at the government house in Lafia, the state capital, highlighting that the move is as a result of better revenue. He pointed out that the 2024 supplementary budget was necessitated by the revitalization and realization of an improvement accruing to the state, fueled by the determination of his administration to utilize the resources.
In view of the fact that we realize the improvement in the revenue, of the 156 billion that we have seen the improvement of this supplementary budget, only 8,499,928,305 naira 88 kobo is personnel cost. Only 28,687,092,397 naira 66 kobo are the other recurrent cost. So the total amount of the 156 billion, 119 actually went to capital projects. In every local government of the state, you have one form of capital project that is taking place or the other. In so many local government areas, you have multiple capital projects that are going on all at the same time. Thank you, and we thank God for this improvement that we have seen in revenue. With these, we are also meeting up with the target of the requirement by law to ensure that both the supplementary budget and all the other items are approved, concluded, not only before the end of the year, but before the presentation of another budget, which we are going to do hopefully this week.
Staying in Nasarawa State, the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, has revealed plans to train about 1,400 youths. The Director General, Mr. Silas Agara, disclosed this when he paid a courtesy visit to Governor Abdullahi Sule at the government house in Lafia, the state capital. He informed the governor that the youths would soon be trained in different vocations, 10 each, across the 147 electoral wards, all in an effort to bridge the gap in the level of unemployment in Nasarawa State. While Governor Sule urged the agency to ensure due process and fairness in its selection to ensure that youths from across the state benefit from this initiative.
These 10 people, that you are selecting, I don't want to select even one. I don't want any for me. I want you to go through your proper process and select them. But please, let every ward, no matter how away they are from society, let them be able to bring the center. Don't allow them other wards like, you see, like I'm from Goody Ward. Goody Ward is at the corner. So what you will do, please, for some of us who come from the remote areas, ensure that every ward gets the center so they can benefit from it. So if you do that, I will be the happiest human being. So follow your process that you are doing it without any interference, definitely not from me. You won't hear any interference from me, so that you can go through and make sure you get the people. So you can imagine we have 147 wards and we have 10 per ward. That's 1,470 trained, skilled in Nasarawa State.
Criminals who usually take advantage of the festive season to unleash mayhem on innocent citizens have been warned to stay clear from Plateau State, as security operatives will not hesitate to deal decisively with them in line with extant laws. During a security seminar in Jos, the state capital, the General Officer Commanding 3 Division of the Nigerian Army and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, revealed that the Chief of Army Staff has approved the deployment of additional troops and critical combat enablers to ensure the state is safe, especially during the festive season.
In continuation of the Joint Security Task Force mandate to ensure safety of lives and property in Plateau State, critical stakeholders from different communities discuss, especially with the harvest season and festive period approaching. Addressing the gathering, the Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, stated security agencies' determination to ensure the celebration is observed peacefully in various communities.
We must continue to adopt the bottom-up crisis resolution approach to fashion ways and means to ensure that issues raised in this seminar trickle down to others who are not opportune to be present here today. They are the ones that really need to know what we have deliberated upon today. I also wish to seize this opportunity to send a strong warning to those criminals planning to cause mayhem during the Yuletide season. The Chief of Army Staff has graciously approved the deployment of additional troops and critical combat enablers to Plateau State, especially during this
A lecture series on peaceful coexistence for secure harvest and harmonious Yuletide were presented by religious leaders and peace-building advocates to enlighten participants on what is expected of them.
The real victory is not over farmers, it's not over Fulani, it's not over herders. The victory must begin with you. So can you give to Jesus during this season a victory over your pride, your greed, your selfishness, and all the lies that you have been spreading around concerning other religions? Somebody has said that enemies are destroyed with arms and might. You can destroy a farmer, you can subdue him, you can eliminate him. But enmity that is within yourself can only be destroyed through dialogue and forgiveness.
The former Director General, Plateau Peace Building Agency, Mr. Joseph Legman, cautions against stigmatization and profiling, which has been a challenge.
If this conversation is anything to go by, perhaps is to further reinforce the need for us to gear up in order to address the consequences, or rather the legacies of this decade's experience of intensifying violence in Plateau.
With the Yuletide at hand, security agencies in Plateau have asked for the support of all residents to achieve a safe harvest and joyous celebration.
Coming up on the program, we'll tell you about the maiden convocation ceremony at the Thomas Adeomi University in Kwara State. We'll give you details in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. With the world economy dominated by technology and scientific innovations, the Astronomical Society of Nigeria, in collaboration with the National Space Research and Development Agency, is stepping up space science research outreach to primary schools across the country. This was disclosed in Makurdi, the state capital, during the investiture of 2 new fellows of the association at the 14th National Conference held at the Benue State University Center for Food Technology and Research. Dr. Grace Adagwa, that's the executive chairman of the Benue State Universal Basic Education Board, who is one of the newly inducted fellows, says the goal is to start recruiting Nigerians from primary school.
Members of the Astronomical Society of Nigeria, led by Professor Jemima Ogbo, are received by the Vice-Chancellor, Benue State University, Makurdi, ahead of the institution's 14th National Conference on Space Science School Outreach in Benue State. The Vice-Chancellor, who is represented by his Deputy on Academics, Professor Simon Ubua, leads the national delegates to the conference where astronomers deliberate on global issues in space science and technology as he encourages research development.
This conference provides a unique opportunity for stimulating thought-provoking discussions, cross-fertilization of ideas, forging of cutting-edge research, and meaningful networking.
Governor Hyacinth Alia is represented by his Commissioner for Science and Technology, Mr. Nick Eworo, and the Attorney General. The ceremony unfolds with the investiture by Professor Kingsley Okpara of 2 new fellows, including the Executive Chairman of Benue State Universal Basic Education Board, Dr. Grace Adagba.
To the Benue State government.
Dr. Grace Adagba lauds Governor Hyacinth Alia's interest in the deployment of new technologies to solve governance issues, while also encouraging students participating in the conference to hone their interest in space research programs.
While we are hosting this prestigious conference in this state, it's because of the governor's commitment in enhancing the development of science and technology in this state.
The conference dissolves into the space, science and astronomy outreach to 4 public schools across Makurdi, the state capital, to sensitize pupils to pursue careers in space, science and astronomy.
Beyond galaxies in the universe. What is the name of our own planet Earth there?
Today I learned about the solar system and also learned about light pollution. In the solar system they talked about the 8 planets and they explained why they are no longer 9.
Impressed by the reception of pupils who are eager to commit to space research, the society calls for increased awareness on the need to secure Nigeria's space program by recruiting more astronomers who are in short supply nationwide.
But we do not have up to 1,000 astronomers. We don't even have up to 500 astronomers, professional ones, right now in Nigeria. So it's a big deficiency. We have been doing outreach programs to encourage people into the field.
The outreach aims to inspire pupils to focus on science studies and consider their future as space and astronomy scientists who must begin to rethink Nigeria's space program and national security.
To more efforts to improve the education sector, the Vice-Chancellor of Salem University, Professor Elewo Akubo, is calling on government at all levels to support private universities in the country. Addressing a news conference in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, he says private universities deserve special consideration from all stakeholders in order to have a sustainable educational system.
Special consideration should be given to private universities. Somebody said the other time that the future of the Nigerian education, particularly at the university level, lies with the private universities. You may argue this as much as you can, but remember that revolution began with our primary schools. And we are told that, oh, it's not going to hold water. Today, I'm sure there is none of you here whose child attended a primary school or is attending a public primary school. Same thing happens at the secondary school level. And it's just a matter of time. If we want to have a sustainable university education system in Nigeria, then all attention must be focused at the private universities.
Away from education now, the Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, believes that investing in gender programs is a strategic catalyst for economic growth. She stated this at a high-level dialogue on investment in gender equality and ending violence against women for rights and development, organized by the United Nations Women in partnership with the African Development Bank in the nation's capital, Abuja.
Stakeholders, policymakers and advocates gathered at the African Development Bank office in Abuja for this high-level dialogue designed to address systemic barriers affecting gender equality in Nigeria. The UN Women, in partnership with the African Development Bank, is organizing this meeting to deepen the understanding of how gender-based violence impacts individuals, society, and economic development, as well as advancing gender rights.
I would like to highlight that the World Economic Forum estimated in its Global Gender Gap report of 2022 that it would take about 132 years for the world to achieve gender parity.
Our focus on gender equality and enabling and ending violence against women for rights and development is very, very important and timely. This is why the African Development Bank has a very, very clear stance on this issue.
The dialogue leads to the launch of a new high-level technical working group dedicated to implementing gender-responsive budgeting, policy development, and institutional frameworks.
On the side of the European Union, gender equality and women's rights are a top priority, both internally, back home, as well in our international cooperation and development policies.
Some states, particularly Kwara, have adopted the 35% Affirmation Act, meaning that it's law now to make sure that we have 35% of women in leadership positions. And we continue to fight and walk the talk.
The Minister of Women Affairs delivered the keynote address. She notes that gender-based violence costs the global economy over $1.5 trillion annually, emphasizing the impact on the nation's economy.
Women in Nigeria make up 49 to 50% of the population. 41% of micro, small and medium-scale enterprise owners are women. Yet, less than 22% of women hold senior leadership positions, and only a 3.6% occupy parliamentary seats, elective offices. This gross underrepresentation in decision-making stimulates growth, innovation, and inclusivity.
The dialogue continues with a call for collective action and accountability to drive the implementation of gender-responsive initiatives that would foster sustainable development and address gender inequalities across Nigeria.
That's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.